Welcome back to America F1, and as we review the 2025 Qatar Grand Prix, this race was the antithesis of everything that's wrong with Formula One. No passing. Let's be honest, the tires suck. Papaya rules. Red Bull making statements that aren't true. Bad TV direction, and Ferrari not competitive. Worse than, as Fernando Alonso would say, a GP2 car. Let's talk about that and how Carlos Sainz is eating his just desserts here at America F1.
They said it couldn't be done. They said it wouldn't last. White man, black man. America F1. America F1 coming to you straight from San Francisco, California. Sherman Tillman, Michael Lawler. America F1.
Let's not wait. Let's not put it off to the last segment so people can watch and, they can go to the last segment anyway because, I put up the syllabus kind of like, a table of contents of what we're talking about and people just go right to what they want to see anyway. Rarely do they watch the whole video, which you should because, we appreciate you here at America F1 and you should watch the whole video because we have good stuff. And we put stuff out and other people steal it. And then they say they said it, but we said it first. But we're a small channel, so no one really knows. This is where I ask you to like, subscribe, tell your friends, and comment here at America F1. We love to have you be a subscriber. We're a small channel. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do here. As you see, we have a load of videos here at America F1. And we're doing it all for the love of Formula One. It's not like we're making tons of money, but we would like to. We could give you better content. We give you great content already. But just think how much better it could be if you just buy us a coffee and tell us that you appreciate what we do here at America F1. Now, we all know that the papaya rules suck. Okay, let's get into it. The papaya rules just has me so frustrated, and it's almost like a microcosm of the UK as a whole, right? They got poor leadership. Even though I think Zach Brown's a great leader, I think he's definitely a great marketer and a nice person to talk to, and I think he's put McLaren up top, back where it used to be. I mean, no one could do that, right? Since, they before these last couple years, they've been pretty bad, right? For a long time since Lewis left. Even a couple years before that, they've been pretty bad, right? And so we can't say that Zach Brown's leadership hasn't taken him to 2 consecutive constructive titles. But what we can say is, like the UK, there's too much regulation. It's a crackdown on freedom of speech. The UK's taken wokeness to another level. And it's somehow seeped in to McLaren. Because these papaya rules, think about it. We're not favoring any one driver because we don't want to hurt their feelings. I mean, Formula One is cutthroat. It always has been. It always will be. Because that is the nature of the beast. But McLaren has come in and said, no, we don't want it to be cutthroat. We want both our drivers to feel appreciated and loved, even though we all know they favor Lando. And you could see it when, at the end of this race, Oscar Piastri hasn't been on a podium in, 2 months? And all of a sudden, he's on the podium. He's second. And in years ago, this would be cause for great celebration at McLaren because they weren't even nowhere near the podium. And now they've come to a point where second isn't good enough and only 2 mechanics or people from the garage show up other than Zach Brown to congratulate Oscar. You could see Oscar by himself while Carlos is out celebrating with his team, while Max is out celebrating with his team. Oscar's sitting there with the announcer by himself because he doesn't have anybody to go high five. He actually high fived more people in the crowd than he did from his own team because there was only 2 people there. Now, that, and you take, when he passed the finish line and they showed the garage. Now, I don't know if they showed Oscar's garage or they showed Lando's garage, but it doesn't matter because neither one were clapping. Oscar finished second. Think about this. He finished second in a Grand Prix where most people or most drivers in their career will never even get a podium. Think about that. Most drivers, Hulkenberg just got his first podium in his whole career, and he's been in Formula One since time began, and he just got his first podium. Oscar gets second. No one's clapping in the garage. There's no yays. There's no, congratulations. No one goes to congratulate Oscar. If Oscar Piastri leaves this team after this year, they have nobody to blame but themselves. He's a good driver. And if you lose Oscar because you favorite Lando and you want Lando, and we've talked about it here on this channel before, but you have nobody to blame but yourself. And what I would like to see, and this is totally selfish reasons, I would love Oscar to swap with Lewis Hamilton and Lewis go back to McLaren and to finish out his career, and then Oscar go to Ferrari because we all know Charles is going to leave, and then Oscar can mold that team. Well, he can't really mold Ferrari because, as you see, no one can do that. And at least he'll be the number 1 driver there because Charles will be gone, Lewis will be gone. And then he can be the number 1 driver. And at least the Tifosi will love him. At minimum, he will get love because he's not getting any love at McLaren. I watched it. You watched it. So, okay, they can make up. They can say what they want, but spell my name right. Just, you can see it. Okay. Everyone's pitting. The safety car comes out. You're in the lead. If you pit, you still come out in first. I don't get it. You still come out in first because everyone else is pitting. Everyone did double stacks. Basically, the whole dang grid. So, if you're in the lead and you pit, and then you double stack with Lando, you'll both come out 1-2, 1-3 at worst. But no, you leave them out because track position is king, even though you know you have to come back in to change tires because there's a mandate that you have to change tires. The tires can only be 25 laps. And it's not just with this race. It's in practice. It's in qualifying. However many laps you put on those tires in total over the weekend has to equal up to 25 laps. And then you got to change them. So we all know that, right? We're all at home. We're all armchair quarterbacking, okay? We're all armchair managers. We know that. Okay, so we're at home. We know this. They know this. They got the computers. They got the models. So then why wouldn't you it's a free pit stop. When you have a safety car, they call it a free pit stop. So why wouldn't you pit? The only reason you wouldn't pit is because you don't want to give any favoritism to either driver. Because if you pit Oscar in first and Lando behind him, then that means Oscar's going to win and he's in first and we're favoring Lando, so we can't have Oscar win. But if we have Oscar win and we have Lando in second, then we still have a stranglehold on this WD World Drivers' Championship. If we don't do it, then the shark, the man with the myth, the legend, Maximilian Verstappen is only 12 points behind. I just don't. Papaya rules. Throw the papaya rules out the window. Zach Brown, tell them there will be no papaya rules for this last race. Tell them there'll be no papaya rules going forward. Who's ever having the best weekend, that's who we're going to prioritize. And if one guy's way ahead in the world championship, we're going to prioritize them. Now, they're both. Piastri really doesn't have a chance at this point. I mean, the only way he could really win is if both cars either DNF or they're out of the points and Oscar scores. Well, I mean, there's ways Oscar can win, but they're very unlikely. They're very unlikely. It would take, I won't say an act of God, but I mean, he can win. I mean, if Max does really bad and Lando does really bad and Oscar wins, and say Lando's kind of out of the points and maybe Max only scores a few points, maybe if they both get like 8th or 9th, then I mean, I'll put it up here. There's all these different scenarios, but the only scenario that matters is that papaya rules suck and they should get rid of them. Now, let's move on to Red Bull making statements that aren't true. Now, they've done it before, and they're doing it again. Remember when they said that Lewis Hamilton almost killed Max Verstappen, and if he did this and his car landed on him, and then he tried to kill it, and he didn't even go over to see if he's all right, and he's celebrating after the win, and Max is in the hospital, and we all remember that. Lewis got death threats. Lewis, he didn't go off of Twitter. He didn't go, or X, whatever you call it. He didn't go off of his social media like young Kimi did. But here's the thing. Kimi is a teenager. Let me repeat that. He's not an adult yet. He's a teenager. The kid just got his driver's license this year. And you make a statement like, Kimi, just let him by. But if you're watching, you have all these monitors because you've been there. Like if you've been to a race, you see what they have. They have this big box and they all sit there and, they have the pit wall and they all have all the monitors so they can see and they can look and they can go back. And they're saying he made a statement, off a cuff without actually knowing. But if you don't know, then you shouldn't make the statement. But that's kind of, they're racing and in the circumstances, okay, I can see that. But the fan base, and I'm speaking to you, all the Orange Army, and you're great people. I've partied with you. I was out in Zandvoort. I was out in Austria. We had a great time. Good people, lots of beer. I loved it. But the armchair quarterbacks, the ones who like to talk a lot of crap online, but wouldn't do that if people were standing there, these are the ones I'm talking to. Not the real Formula One fans, not the real Max fans who just want Max to win and love racing, and they're not going to say anything bad about another driver. But to send hateful texts, email, tweets, whatever it is on social media, post, videos to a teenager because you think he did something by letting, like a competitor would ever let Lando by. Think about that. Here's this young kid who's just trying to make his way in Formula One, and he's just going to let Lando by because he doesn't like Max. He's always talking to Max. He doesn't dislike Max. The kid made a mistake. He's a rookie. But you have hounded him to the effect that he had to blacken out his social media. When you go to poor Kimi's page, he doesn't have his face up there anymore. Shame on you. Shame on each and every one of you who've done that. Shame on, I know Red Bull, the next day, they come out with this statement and saying, we don't condone, blah, blah, blah. You know the things. They always, people do, the companies do, they come out the next day. But the thing is, it's just like when on the front page they say something and they're totally wrong, and they make the retraction on like page 14 under some ad talking about, we need to eat more avocados, then they'll put it under that and nobody will see it. This is the same thing. They've already made their bed. They've already made people send these posts and send these things to Kimmy. And just because now you're putting out a retraction statement, well, that's CYA, that's covering your butt, but that doesn't really change the effect that it's already had. Just like it did with Lewis. It seems like even though Christian Horner's not at Red Bull, there's something there at Red Bull that just makes them want to wear the black hat, just want to make them say things and do things that maybe they shouldn't do. And I'm not trying to be too PC here because Lord knows I'm far from being PC, but I think that all the fans out there need to do better. And we don't even know, and let's be honest, we don't even know if it's a lot of bots doing this, because I've seen a lot of bots on the internet and they say things to make controversy. And they say and do things to make people react to them. And then that's all they show on the algorithm. So I would say it's probably 70-30. It's 70% of bad people, and it's probably 30% of bots trying to make the algorithm get more likes and more people talking about it. So, it's not all the fans' fault. It's those algorithms' fault also. Now, we all know that Carlos Sainz is sitting, he's sitting probably with Charles Leclerc going, man, the best thing I ever did was go to Williams. He has to be, right? He has to be saying the best thing I ever did was make that move to Williams. They treat me really nice. They treat me like I'm a king over there. They listen to my input. I'm on the podium 2 times, which most people were saying he would never see the podium ever again. Remember when they made that switch? He would never see the podium ever again, and he's never going to win a race ever again. Now you compare what they're doing at Williams to what they're doing at Ferrari. Yeah. Their car's getting better. Ferrari's car is getting worse. Williams listens to their driver's input from Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz. Ferrari they don't want input from their drivers. They want their drivers to shut up and drive. How's that working out for you? If that's your ethos, how's that working out for you these last 20 years? How's that strategy working out for you? Yeah, the pit stops are better. Strategy still sucks. Still a clown show. We still never know what we're getting from one race to the other. They still never answer pertinent questions when their drivers ask them. There needs to be wholesale changes. They brought Fred in to make changes, but it seems like they won't let Fred make changes also. It all comes from the top. And I think, like I said before, John Olkin should take a step back. He should let the car people, the people that race, not the car people that sell Ferraris, but the actual race team, do their job. Like he does with the WEC team. The WEC team, they do their thing. John Olkin doesn't bother them. He's not all telling them what to do. The car people who sell Ferraris, they're not telling the WEC team what to do. And what happens there? Back-to-back championships. Maybe take a cue from that. Take a cue from that. Do the same thing with the Formula One team. I don't think it will happen. I don't see Ferrari being any better next year. It's sad to say. And as Alonso would say, it's a GP2 car. And both Charles and Lewis said they couldn't wait for this weekend to be over. And have you ever seen a car get steadily worse from practice to qualifying to the race? I mean, it usually doesn't happen. Usually the progression is the car gets better over the weekend. Not a Ferrari.
Oh, hell no!